was like I'm floating in
like a
Oktoberfest.
yeah. Now that you say that, but I was just thinking like in front of like a big glass of beer, like if you got like
Yeah.
a picture taken or something. But it could also look like you're floating in the glass of beer too. But it looks pretty cool. Good
I
morning,
like it.
everybody. Welcome to the Two Dumb Yinzers. This is episode
Yeah, don't
270.
talk to me.
We back today. We got all kind of stuff we're going to talk about. It's the second day of spring. You know what, Mike? It's not going to be bad. It's going to feel like spring a little bit today. I believe right around 60 degrees here
I
in the
like it.
region. Yeah, I could do some 60-degree days.
Me too. Like yesterday when, I was outside for a minute running some stuff out to the car, I'm like, this isn't bad. It was starting to warm up. And, earlier in the day it was cold and it's probably like 5 o'clock. I'm like, this isn't bad at all. I'm
Yeah.
liking it. I can't wait for spring. I had a sore throat yesterday. This weather change
Hmm.
is jacking me up.
Yeah, it seems like, and you can't, it's something all the time. And then when it finally gets better, it just moves to a different part. And
Yeah.
I've been fighting
It,
about four different things for about 4 months now, it seems like.
it just won't end.
No. Mike, I got a glimpse, excuse me, I got a glimpse of the Pittsburgh Maulers uniforms. Well, the helmets at least. The uniforms still to be revealed. Now, mind you,
Ooh.
that they're coming back this year as the Pittsburgh Maulers, but they're not returning with the same colors. That purple orange scheme they were going with
Yeah.
is done, and the helmets are black with a yellow stripe and a Mauler symbol. And to me, it appeared that it was only on one side of the helmet.
Oh, so they're just like copying the Steelers to a
I mean,
T.
I don't know. I don't see the similarities, but
Yeah, there's none whatsoever,
I mean, the
boys.
Steelers don't have a little thing right here that says USFL. So I mean,
Yeah, they got the Steelers right there.
yeah. So it's a black helmet, got the yellow stripe. It has it like I said, I could be wrong, but they only
Hmm.
showed one side of the helmet, which I guess could really mean one way or the other. But in the face mask though, the face mask is silver.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's
that's
really
new. That's
nice.
different. That's different.
And like I said, at first glance, you would think, oh wow, that's a nice Steeler helmet, but it's a Mauler's helmet. It's neat.
Yeah.
It goes in, it fits in pretty seamlessly for what we do here in Pittsburgh, and I think people will like that. At first, I
I
thought people were going to be like, oh, which
yeah.
they might, because
Oh,
we had people bitching the whole way through the basketball tournament that Pitt wore their black uniforms the whole time.
well, that's the reason they lost, bro.
Yeah, yeah, and some of these people, and it wasn't just women; it was guys too.
Yeah.
That's what makes it embarrassing. But the
Yeah.
guys are like, oh, I
Well,
mean,
like
we're royal blue. We're not black and gold. We don't want to be like the other teams from Pittsburgh. We're royal blue.
we don't want to be like the two successful
Yeah,
franchises in Pittsburgh.
and it was just such a it was so many different people had this opinion. Meanwhile, they were
Hey,
doing damn good with
yeah,
their
I
their
know, right?
black uniforms. They played better defense than they played all season probably. But these people, they went on and on with these uniforms, and oh, I can't believe we're not wearing our blue. Oh, the blue. Fuck almighty. Come on.
Hey, you waited more than 7 seconds to drop the F bomb. I'm proud of you, bro.
Hey, look at me. See?
You're growing as an
I
individual.
told you I told you I can grow.
Yeah, but you didn't have to show me.
Also, speaking of Pitt, I seen some footage yesterday of Nelly Cummings, a bunch of people that he grew up with, and everybody started posting this one play. I guess it was like like a dunk of the year
Yeah.
candidate. And I remember going and seeing him whenever he was in high school, and I remember hearing that he was going to be something. And I just kept watching this, and he had some serious ups because I mean, he was as tall as everybody else out there. It wasn't like he
Yeah.
was this huge guy that was dunking, and it was pretty impressive, man. It was really good. Um, what else? What else? What else?
Well,
Oh, wait a minute. I do.
oh
Oh,
God, what else do you have?
well, it's very important. I'm
Very
glad you
important.
glad you asked. Oh, I had it right here.
Oh, you had it right here. The topic at hand is waiting. And you're
Just pull yourself together.
Well, speaking of jerseys,
Madam, I request that you immediately send me pictures detailing your beautiful bosom in support of the national holiday known as Titty Tuesday.
I like it.
There.
I like it. It's fair enough. Fair enough. But no, the NHL has a New Jersey partner, and everyone is crapping on this company because they are terrible. And it's nice to see something to bring all hockey fans together.
That is nice.
I like it. I love it. We are a divided community, and I like to see it together, brought together. So it's making it brought the warm and fuzzies to me.
Speaking of the NHL, Pittsburgh Penguins were in action last night. The Ottawa Senators visit the Penguins. Penguins needed to, they basically need to win. I mean, now after last night, they only have 12 games left.
Mm-hmm.
Penguins lost 2-1. It was 1-0 early. Ottawa, then they tied it up, and then I think Raquel scored the goal to tie it up. And Senators, they scored again. It was 2-1 final count on that. With that, Mike, I do believe, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that the Penguins fell out of a playoff spot.
Oh, we did. And boys, keep losing, fall into the 22nd spot, because that puts us in the draft lottery. We can move up 10 spots to the number 1 overall pick. Just tank it, boys. Just tank it.
Now they lost 4 in a row now, Mike.
They can lose every single game from here on out. Lose them, boys.
They lost 4 in a row. They come back to action tomorrow night out in Colorado, 8:00 tomorrow. Jari started last night. It wasn't a complete catastrophe like it has been with him, but good morning, Derpy. But
What's up?
What up? But the fact that when he's in there now, I think fans just kind of shudder. And I seen the other day somebody posted Yari was starting, and they're like, "Oh, geez, not Yari," which is wild because 3 weeks ago it was the other way. It was every time you heard the Smith was getting ready to start, it was like, "Oh, geez." So one of these guys, they have to at some point, and it's probably not going to be this year.
But at some point, from what I saw, it really wasn't Jari, man. It was the same cast of clowns.
Really?
Goals and goals. Dumoulin, Carter, everyone else not named, Crosby, Malkin, Letang, Gensel, Rackle, and Zucker. They all suck. Let's just lose from here on out, boys. Mike Sullivan needs to channel his inner Eddie Johnston, start everyone who sucks, and tank. That's how we got Lemieux. That's how we got Crosby. That's how we got Malkin. That's how we got Fleury. Just tank it. Get this number 1 prospect.
The Penguins are 34, 26, and 10, which if you look at this record and you didn't know any better, you'd think, that's not bad. 34, 26, 10. But they fell out. They're not in a playoff spot at the moment. They lost 4 in a row. Again, they go out to Colorado tomorrow. I'm not real sure what they did. I think they were supposed to beat us, but we beat them or something earlier this year.
Yeah, they were supposed to beat us. We beat them.
But now we're going out there. And I don't know how many times we can continue to say this. They have to start right now because we're running out of right now for them to start.
Oh, yeah.
4 in a row. Come on. You lost 2 against the Rangers. You lost against the Habs. Then you lose against Ottawa. Ottawa's a little better. They're sitting at 34, 30, 31, and 5. However, they're just, Mike, they got blowed out. They got blowed out 6-0 by the Rangers right after losing to the worst team in the league, the Montreal Canadiens. It truly feels that this may be it for these guys.
It is. It's it.
As we said yesterday, we know they're not going to the finals. So is it just a playoff berth that I think they're, is the only possibility at this point?
Yeah, this team it's a travesty. Like I said, outside of like the handful of players, 5, 6, 7 players, this team is trash. It's garbage. I'm ready to move on.
That's unfortunate. They usually keep things fun through the spring into the beginning of summer. It allows us to avoid Pirates baseball just a little bit longer to get us to mini camp. But it does not look like this year that's going to happen.
I don't know, man. But what Omar Collin be doing, I think the Steelers are always going to be in the news.
Mike, I saw yesterday. What's the now with this new group in? From what I read, Lemieux's not really involved much.
Oh
Is that
no,
true?
no, he's not at all whatsoever. Him and Ron Burkle sold every stake they had with the club. I think it maybe they might own like a fraction of
Yeah.
percentage of the team, but they're done. They're no longer the owners of the Penguins. It is the Fenway Sports Group who
Mario
own
just needs
the
to get in there and
Penguins.
start kicking people or something. I mean,
No, he sold. He washed his hand, man. He had enough. He is done. He's officially retired from hockey. Yeah,
hmm.
I'm done with the Penguins for this year. Unless they make the playoffs, then I'll follow them then. But for now, I'm done. Sick of forking them, boys. They are done.
Now Mike he has something fun to do today, but I'm just gonna kick the can down the road here a
Oh,
little
yes,
bit.
you are. You're kicking can down the road.
Well, there's a
You're
lot.
doing
I mean,
it on
there
purpose. You're
are
dragging
some
it
things
out
that
on
we
me.
do have to talk about. I got to talk to Derpy this morning. How you doing this morning, Derpy?
Pretty good.
Good. You know, I was thinking about you. I was thinking about you a lot, Derpy, over the day, and I thought to myself, now Derpy isn't going to be able to give us a ride, Mike, when we do the college basketball next year.
Mm-hmm.
Derpy, do you happen to know how to fly a helicopter by chance?
In GTA, yeah.
Well, I know you said you couldn't drive, so I thought maybe a helicopter. How
In
about
GTA, like Derpy,
how about a horse and
are
buggy?
you growing meth? Are you growing meth? Are you making meth in GTA?
Could you sit at the front of the horse and buggy and just guide us? How about this? You know what we need? You ever see those bikes, guys, that have the two side compartments on them, where usually the guy drives and the wife and the daughter or whatever sits in the side? I think Derpy should. Now, here's the thing about those: they're hard. You can't even wreck them. I mean, there's the way they're built. I say, me and you, Mike, we ride in the sidecars. We'll put helmets on,
Mm-hmm.
and Derpy drives us. How's that, Derp?
Yeah. I don't know.
We can get you a rickshaw.
I think Derpy is on. I think Derpy's on delay.
I think he is on delay.
Big rip.
Well, and we also know that there's issues. See, now I the more I think about Derpy, I want to pry a little bit more, learn about our friend. And we know that he was brought up in a rough environment. We know his mother was she was a Browns fan. So I can only imagine that, things were rough for you, Derpy, growing up. And just want to let you know, buddy, we got you, man. All right.
Appreciate that.
It's a safe environment here. We're all stellar fans.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been really rough growing up like that.
Yeah. Sad thing, I've never been to a Steelers game.
Oh wow, Derpy, we're going.
And the even worse thing is the first NFL game too I went to was a Browns game, unfortunately.
That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
We're saying NFL
why.
teams, Derpy, NFL teams.
It doesn't count. It's like the loophole.
Yeah.
For to stay pure that some young people do. It's the loophole.
You're right. You're right.
Browns don't count, man.
It is unfortunate that you went to the Browns game. I could agree with that. I do know that I got hip tossed one time at a Steelers Browns game. It was at home. However, we were above the tunnels after the game was over. We were looking to get some souvenirs, maybe a glove, a headband, something. And this big, heavy set guy, we reached out and we both grabbed a glove at the same time. One of these Browns, they threw up a glove. And I was in the Browns section because there was way too many people over in the Steelers section. So I was like, I'm going to go over to the Browns section, see if I can get anything. Me and this guy, we both grabbed this glove. I don't even know who threw it up. I thought it was Joe Hay, but I don't know. But anyway, I catch it. And as soon as I start to pull it in, this big claw, this bare paw of a hand goes over the top of my hand, and the other hand grabs the glove as well. So me and this guy, Derpy, we're tugging it back and forth. We're fighting over this glove. It was going good. Then he hip tossed me. I kid you not, Derpy, Mike, my feet were flipping through the air. And the only thing that I could think of to myself at the time what was going on was I didn't want to get arrested. So I let the towel go, or I'm sorry, not the towel, the gloves. I let the gloves go. but that's my experience with Browns fans. I do feel for you, Derpy. I don't know what kind of childhood that you must have had, what you must have gone through, but I can't imagine that it was good. So, your family is here for you, Derpy, if you need us. All right.
Bet.
All right.
Appreciate it.
No problem. I understand how hard that could be. That sounds terrible. I don't think that any kid should have to go through that.
Especially getting tickets to a Browns game.
Imagine getting Browns
experience.
Could you imagine getting Browns tickets for like Christmas or something?
I technically got them for free, but I would never want to wish that for that.
Yeah.
Ever. Because they are the epitome of what hell is.
I could imagine all the terrible things you had to hear growing up, like, the Browns are going to win the Super Bowl and the Browns are going to the playoffs. And I mean, it was abuse. We could face it.
Yep, it was.
A couple more things we do got to go over because Mike has something special lined up for us. Monday night, guys, this weekend, the XFL Week 6 kicks off. However, it goes through the weekend, but there's a Monday night game, and this one might grab your attention, Mike. It's the Houston Roughnecks and the DC Defenders, the two teams that were undefeated as of last week. Of course, Houston lost that game to Seattle, but Houston Roughnecks versus the DC Defenders Monday night, 7 o'clock on ESPN2. They're getting a Monday night game for the XFL. I like that. That's a good sign, and see how they could hold their own up against the WWE.
Yeah, if there's no iconic theme, I'm not watching.
Yeah, well, I tell you,
game, I'm not watching if there's no iconic theme.
But these two teams right here, this is what it's about right here. Is if you're into the XFL at all, if you're following, you're learning it. Houston, DC, these are the two best teams. They're playing the best. Their fans really support them. So if you do get a chance, check it out. Also, from you, Mike, I have to get before we start. I have to, only because the days fall in such that this only allows me to do it this way. Mike, I'm going to give you some teams. You're going to give me some winners. We're going to put you in the poll and see how you do. Okay.
Let's do this.
All right, here we go. So Derpy picked his NCAA Final Four yesterday. Mike, you are to pick yours today. I'll pick mine tomorrow. Games start on Thursday. We'll see how it goes. We'll see who ends up the Final Four. Right now, Derpy has for his Final Four, Mike, number 4 Tennessee versus number 8 Arkansas, and number 1 Alabama versus number 1 Houston. Now, you, my friend, let's pick some teams here, buddy.
Okay.
All right. So Thursday's games. The first one we have to pick, Mike, is 7-seeded Michigan State and the 3-seeded Kansas State. Who do you like in this one?
K-State.
K-State. All right. Then we also have Florida the 9-seed Florida Atlantic and number 4 seed Tennessee.
Florida Atlantic.
Florida Atlantic. Okay. 8 seed Arkansas, 4 seed UConn.
Oh, roll hogs, baby. Roll hogs, baby.
Okay.
Go Arkansas.
And finally, out of this side, 3 Gonzaga, 2 UCLA.
Oh, let's go UCLA, baby. UCLA.
Okay. All right. Other side of the bracket, Michael, we have 5 seeded San Diego State, 1 seeded Alabama.
Bama.
Also 15 Princeton, 6 Creighton.
Ooh, yeah. Well, you throw the record books when these two
That's a toss-up
away. Let's go Creighton.
Creighton, you're saying the Cinderella story comes to an end with Princeton, huh?
Yep.
Okay. And let's see. Pick Bama, Creighton. Okay, Miami is 5 seed. Houston is 1.
Let's go Houston.
And 3 Xavier, 2 Texas.
Horns down. Whoever Texas is playing, I'm rooting for the other team.
Xavier.
Xavier.
All right, so we got one more. We got one more thing to do. Do you, Mike, like number 3 Kansas State or number 9 Florida Atlantic?
Florida Atlantic.
Arkansas, which is 8, UCLA, which is 2,
UCLA,
Alabama, which is 1, Creighton, which is 6,
Bama,
and Houston, which is 1, and Xavier, which is 3.
Xavier.
Okay, so your final 4 is this, Mike. UCLA, number 2 seed UCLA, and the number 9 seed Florida Atlantic.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side of the bracket is number 1 Alabama and number 3 Xavier. Do you have, Mike? Do you have 2 teams that you want to see in the finals that you would like to pick now? You can wait, hold off.
I'm gonna hold
off on that.
I'm gonna hold
All
off
right. So we're set. Derpy's final 4 is Tennessee versus Arkansas, and then Alabama versus Houston. Mike, yours is Florida Atlantic versus UCLA and Alabama versus Xavier. Some pretty good picks, guys.
Good picks.
They are good.
Real quick, P, getting Browns tickets would prove we're not friends.
Ain't that the truth?
That's the truth. That's
you want to get anybody back in life. That's what you do.
Just get a Browns
Somebody
tickets,
wronged you.
Yeah.
Have Browns tickets show up in their mailbox.
Right.
But I will pick my picks tomorrow, guys. That will finish us up, and then we will go into the games for the week and see how we do. See who we can. You know what? I think somebody's going to win. Because these guys kind of went totally different routes on that. And you, Mike, you went with Florida Atlantic, and I like it. I like it.
I want UCLA, but in Tennessee, but it's one or the other. So I chose one. Reverse psychology, basically.
Yeah, you like Tennessee and UCLA, you said?
Yeah, that's what I want. That's the matchup I want. But I chose the teams because of reverse psychology. Okay. So UCLA could get to the final. It always works like that in a way.
Derby's out here messing with the universe, man. He's opened up portals and shit. We're all gonna die. It's all your fault, Derp.
And then finally, one more thing, Mike, before we get into your shenanigans, your tomfoolery.
My shenanigans are awesome. My shenanigans are fun. Your shenanigans are cruel and evil. All right, Farva, settle down.
Yeah. There. Yeah, what was it? Painful and traumatic or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
The Pirates did win yesterday. They played the Boston Red Sox. 7-5 was the final count on that. They do have, Mike, they play the Philadelphia Phillies today at 1:05 this afternoon. There's only seven more, count it. Spring training games. Opening day is March 30th, away against the Cincinnati Reds. That's a Thursday. Then they go to Boston to play 3 games for the second series, and then they finally come home. So Buccos baseball right around the corner. And finally, work our way into the NFL, where we're going to let Mike run wild here in a moment. OBJ. Now, this came up yesterday, and I haven't seen a lot of it on the internet. And here's my thing. People weren't really against OBJ because of whatever, his injuries or his past or anything like that. The one thing that I'm seeing that's consistent about Pittsburgh fans and OBJ, of course, we're talking about Odell Beckham Jr., OBJ, the one thing I found in common that most people wrote, guys, is the inability. They believe that Matt Canada has to utilize somebody like OBJ. That everybody was coming out that I seen saying, yeah, what are they going to do? Throw bubble screens and, short cross passes all day with them, blah, 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 blah. They're basically saying that they feel with the offensive coordinator that it's going to be a waste bringing somebody like him. I tell you what, if you bring him in for a 1 year, what can it hurt? I'm for it. I have no problem with the guy. Again, maybe some injuries might be the issues with him, but he seems like he's matured as a player. You haven't heard anything crazy about him in a couple of seasons. Yeah. And he went out to the Rams and did very well. So I would, if you brought him in on a 1 year, which there's really nothing out there left as far as receivers, as far as I know. A lot of fans, like I said, they are saying no, but you know what? There's a lot of fans also, guys, that are saying yes. So, if it wasn't ESPN just saying it, yes, and if it was really something going on in the Steelers organization, I think that we could talk more seriously, but it seems like it was a fabricated statement over at ESPN But I, for one, I would have no problem with Odell Beckham Jr. coming here for, like I said, the season. Let's see what see what happens.
I am all for OBJ coming here. I
That's
never had a
fine.
problem with Odell Beckham Jr. That whole boat trip that they had was blown out of proportion. They were on a bye week. I'm sorry, people. When you work a real job, don't you go on vacation? You always say these guys should treat the NFL like a job, and they do, and they take a vacation. You don't want to poo-poo on them. Like, oh, they aren't taking it seriously. Oh, they're not taking it seriously. Well, when you find them, you don't take a fucking vacation, then you take your job seriously. You work 365 a year. Fuck you. Odell Beckham Jr. never did anything wrong. That boat trip was the shit. I loved it. Odell Beckham Jr. proved what kind of player he is in that Super Bowl with the Rams. He was on his way to being MVP of the Super Bowl. My guy was having one of the best receiving performances ever in the Super Bowl till he got hurt. Odell Beckham Jr., bring him here, but I think it would be a waste, not just because the offensive coordinator, but because of the quarterback situation. I don't think any quarterback on our team would know what to do with OBJ.
You're a goofball. You and those Peds over there in Penn State with your opinions. So to be honest, I haven't really paid much attention to this guy through his career. You hear this, you hear that. I mean, it was never anything that we had to play against. Even when he was with Cleveland, he was not, we shut him down. There was no big issues.
It's because he had Baker Mayfield thrown.
It was Cleveland, bro. It was Cleveland.
Well, I mean, he's never really played. I mean, look at the quarterbacks he's had. He's never really had anybody. I mean, it was the beginning of his career. Was Eli there, or is he later?
Yeah, like Eli at the beginning.
He was washed, though.
I mean, literally, like he's
then Daniel Jones.
I mean,
then Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I think Baker Mayfield's one of the better out of the ones that he had out of out in LA and again in New York. But anyway,
I'd take Odell's drama over freaking inconsistent ass Deontay Johnson any day.
Yeah, like I said, I would.
Whoa, Darpy, you're here. I need to be about here. You're here.
He's inconsistent.
You're here.
I'm freaking mad that everyone supports him.
I don't support
there's an
him.
audience that supports him, and it's ridiculous. He's so inconsistent, and we're gonna have the same sticking result where Pickett throws to Pickens more than, you know what I mean? Like more than often than he shouldn't be having the ball all the time. Which teams will double team Pickens, regardless if he'll catch it or not.
Then that opens up everyone else in the offense. That's a good thing when Pickens gets double teamed. That opens up everyone else. It gives everyone else a chance to be a playmaker. It opens up
I want at least there's got to be a deep threat besides Pickens.
Might be Calvin Austin, guys. We don't know.
A.T. Perry, baby.
We don't know.
A.T. Perry. Look for him in the 4th round.
I wish we could drum up this energy, and we're trying to figure out how Derby's going to get us to Pittsburgh on his bicycle.
Get that rickshaw, Brady. You fuel that anger to the rickshaw.
I think his mom just walked by with a Browns t-shirt on, maybe. All right, Mike. I've had enough.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
about time to shine the light on Mike.
I'm gonna hand it off.
Show us your shenanigans, Mike.
Mike has some cheeky shenanigans he's gonna share with us. All right, Mike. There's the handoff.
All right, boys. Today, we are shining a light on the top 10 all-time Pittsburgh Steelers free agent signings.
Of all time?
Of all, let's say of the most Cowher to Tomlin era.
Okay.
Because if, I don't want to go back to the 70s and start seeing like undrafted free agents because I have an undrafted free agent on my list. So honorable mentions. We're going to start there. John L. Williams back in the day. He actually led the Steelers in receiving or with receptions one year with 51 he was a running back.
Now, John L. Williams, he came out of the backfield in Seattle where he used to run next to Chris Warren.
Yes.
John L. Williams, I was very excited about. A lot of people wasn't too thrilled when he came. They didn't know much about him. But again, I seen how productive he was in Seattle, and I thought, you know what? He was going to be nice for what we were doing at the time. John L. Williams, I could see that.
Ray Seals, also honorable mention. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have like 7 honorable mentions. So Ray Seals, another honorable mention. He was one of my in that time, man. He was a good defensive lineman.
Absolutely. Super Bowl 30 defensive lineman.
Yep. Next honorable mention, Darius Hayward Bay.
Going
He
back
was a
to
bust. He was a bust in Oakland. He came here. He turned himself into that special teamer that and he was that veteran presence on the team.
who did we
Yeah.
just talk about? Ray Seals.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the guy's name. Gabbert. There was somebody in the 90s who was involved. Remember in the early 90s with like the problems with the LAPD and people in Los Angeles, and there was an issue, and the guy was Ray Seals' cousin. I can't remember if he got
I
killed.
know what you're talking about.
You remember that?
I think someone may have been killed that he was related to or something like that. Yeah.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
Then we had Darius Hayward Bay. He was a good signing for what he was. He valuable special teams player. Next, more recent signing, Tyson Alualu. When he was healthy, that first year when we had to let Hargraves go because it was
You're right.
You had to sign Tuitt or Hargraves, and Tuitt was on that trajectory of being one of the best 3-4 ends in football. Alualu came in and he played nicely in that position, but ankle injuries caught up with him.
Now he filled in. He filled in good. Like you said, guys were injured, and he kind of came along and filled in good. He was nothing amazing.
No, but he was.
But like you said, I mean, he would fall into an honorable mention.
Yeah.
I agree.
Gary Anderson. I did not know this in my research.
Yeah.
He came over from the Buffalo Bills.
Yes, from Buffalo.
I did not know that. I learned something new. Next, Steven Nelson.
You know what, Steven Nelson? I was thinking about him the other day. Somebody mentioned something about free agents. Steven Nelson. Now he kind of came and went, didn't he? He was here for a season. Maybe he came over from the Chiefs like the year after they won the Super Bowl. And I thought, you know what, we got a guy. We have a guy here. We have a opposite side of who was at the time? It was Joe Hayden.
I think that's who it was. Yeah.
And then once that season was over, he was gone. I thought, wow, I would have liked to keep him. And you know what? I don't even. Was
it a salary cap issue? And I think he went to the Eagles next, if I remember correctly.
Was he on this Eagles team last year?
No, not last year. No.
So it sounds like he just went one team to another team.
Yeah,
is he in the league?
I didn't look that far, to be honest with you. And then my last honorable mention before we get into the top 10, Joe Hayden.
Oh, absolutely. Easy.
It's some of these people that are on the top 10, you're going to wonder why them, not Joe Hayden, but we'll get to that.
Okay. Who did you say? Steven Nelson. Okay.
Steven Nelson.
So these were your honorable mentions.
Those are my honorable mentions. And those are like for most teams would be top 10 signings.
John O. Williams.
Better be on here.
Ray Seals.
Hayward Bay.
Tyson Joe Hayden, Alualu, Steve Nelson.
And Gary Anderson.
Gary Anderson. So that everybody is our honorable mentions. Mike, go blow us away with the best free agents of all time.
Not all time. We're talking from Cowher to Tomlin era.
Yeah, Williams better be on here.
Eric Pegram comes in at number 10.
Williams who?
Yeah, Williams who?
Running back. What's his name?
D'Angelo. Actually,
no,
he did not make. Yeah, he did not make the top 10. He didn't even make my honorable mentions. So number 10, Eric Pegram. Why Eric Pegram, you may ask? That backfield of Bam Morris and Eric Pegram that led us to a Super Bowl. We didn't win, but he was a nice 1-2 punch right there.
Quick trivia for you, Derpy. Where did Eric Pegram come from as a free agent? I swear that phone that they had that reached the moon when the president was talking.
That's better.
Has less delay than what Derpy has.
I know, right?
Give you a hint. It was an NFC team.
I figured it was an NFC team.
Atlanta Falcons. Eric Pegram.
That's
Pee-wee. I remember.
Answer.
Myron Kobe used to call him Pee-wee. Pee-wee came over from Atlanta. Who do you got next, Mike?
Next, coming in at number 9, Mewelde Moore.
I was going to say Moore. He was one of my favorites.
I did too. I liked him. He played on those Vikings teams, and he came over. I was like, this was a good signing.
At first, everybody thought, "What is this? Another backup running back that we're not going to use?"
And he was like a little guy.
He was a third down genius. I can recall many a times that we had to rely on Mewelde Moore for his third down heroics, just win games. Mueldy Moore was off the top of my head one of my top five.
Yeah,
for
he was
sure.
that guy. He broke the mold for like Steeler running backs that you're used to seeing, because yeah, he kind of fits like that Eric Pegram mold, but we were used to Bam Morris, Barry Foster, Jerome Bettis, like a Deuce Staley, the bigger bruising backs.
He could do so much.
Yeah,
he was
so like,
very, very versatile. You know
Yeah.
what? When Mueldy Moore left here, I was upset because he was a totally under the radar kind of guy.
Yeah,
It was third down and long. There was always something in the playbook for Mueldy Moore, and it seemed like 9 out of 10 times he got it too.
he did too. All right, number 8. Let's see if you remember this guy, Brent Alexander.
Oh yeah,
I remember him. He's
in your top 10.
He's in my top 10 from this era.
Okay,
he was a solid safety. Number 7. The man that, Steeler fans wish Cam Sutton was, Dwayne Washington. Talk about a steal in free agency in that era. He was one of the better corners. Him and Chad Scott were an impressive duo.
He was weird because he was not, the thing about Dwayne Washington, he wasn't the fastest guy.
No.
He didn't have the best hands on as a corner. But he was successful, and when he was here, he was successful all the way up until the moment when he ran into Tennessee's kicker and in the playoffs.
He flopped.
I mean, that was obviously, that was the very end of Dwayne Washington's career here. I don't recall if that was anything deciding on if they were going to re-sign him or whatnot. But the one thing
that wasn't held against him.
The one thing I do remember about him, Mike, if you remember, there was a commercial, and it was all these NFL guys, they were doing stuff for kids. And this Dwayne Washington was in a museum, and he was showing these kids this really intricate work. It was artwork, pen or with paint. I'm sorry. And Dwayne Washington asked the kids, they go, "What do you think about this one?" And the little girl in the group of kids, she was like, "That looks like noodles." Do you remember this commercial? That more than anything is what I remember about Dwayne Washington the rest of my life.
But no, he would, like you said, he wasn't the fastest guy, but he was that savvy corner that he knew how to just stay in your hip. He knew when to give space, when to press. He just knew. He knew how to when to grab, when to let go. He was that savvy veteran.
You know who you put me in mind of a little bit? He put me in mind of Deshae Townsend.
Yes.
Their size, their style, their ability.
I think he was a little bigger than Deshae, but yeah, he puts
neither one of them are really big guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Dwayne Washington. And then pace yourself too, man. Don't run this out with 10 minutes left to go.
Well, you spent like 45 minutes on everything else.
Well, I'm trying to stretch that way. We don't end up.
This was a 15 minute stretch. Shorts. Number 6, Jeff Hardings, center from the Detroit line. He stabilized that line.
Yeah, that was a good pick.
He won a Super Bowl. Number 5, Kevin Green.
He's your 5?
He's number 5.
Any guess on where he came from, Derp? Kevin Green, the guy that had the yellow locks like Hulk Hogan on the sides, at least.
No idea.
Came from the Rams, went to the Panthers. On the bookends of his Steeler career.
I don't know why you're yelling at me about time, man. We got like 20 minutes to go.
That's what I'm saying. Don't get done too fast, is what I'm saying.
Oh! I thought you were saying
stretch the time. You only have 6 guys left. We got 20 minutes.
Yeah, but like Kevin Green, my God, him and Greg Lloyd, that tandem, Blitzburg, baby.
Quake and Quiver and Quake.
Oh,
they even had a song on the radio.
Yeah.
Shake, quiver, and quake. Remember that on DVE?
Did Kevin Green make the Hall of Fame yet?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I could not remember. I'm like,
Andy died too.
Yeah, I know he passed away. And where did he go after his NFL career?
After his NFL career?
And it was like in the middle of his NFL career when he was after he left the Steelers. WCW.
Oh yeah, he went and seen.
He wrestled with some. He was a wild cat. He was one of my favorite Steelers, definitely from that era.
So you got Kevin Green. Now this is your number what?
Number 5. Number 5. So we have number 10, Eric Pegram, Pee Wee Pegram. That dynamic duo with him and Bam Morris. Number 9, Mueldy Moore. God, he was like that first running back that I learned what a third down specialist was. Because before him, I don't know if Pittsburgh ever had a third down specialist.
Not like more they haven't.
Not like Moore. No. Then number 8, Brent Alexander. He played what? Free or strong safety? I can't remember.
Oh boy, I don't recall.
He played safety on one. He won a Super
Brent
Bowl.
Alexander wasn't really memorable for me, but
But no, hey, he was on a Super Bowl winning team. He was a solid contributor. Then we had number 7, Dwayne Washington on those teams from the 90s. Him and Chad Scott, they helped us get to the Super Bowl where we ultimately lost because Andre Hastings does not know what a hot route is.
that was actually a really good secondary. Super Bowl 30. That was Rod Woodson, Darren Perry, Cornell Lake, and Dion Figures.
Yeah, no, Dwayne Washington wasn't on that group. My bad.
No, he was late 90s. He was on those teams that were bad.
Yeah, he was on the late 90s. That's right. My bad. I got too excited.
And then we finally got good again. He ran, the whole kicker.
Yeah, that whole kicker thing. And the kicker even said, "No, yeah, I dove. I deserve an Oscar." Number 6, Jeff Hardings. The reason he's on here, I know Ryan didn't like it too much, but he solidified that center position.
No, I don't dislike Hardings.
I forget who the center was before him, but Sean Mahan was the center before him, and it was like a total nightmare. And then we get this guy coming over from the Lions who played guard. We're like, who's this guy? And he comes in and he solidified that position, helped that offensive line, and starting center in a Super Bowl, baby. Heck yeah, Jeff Hardings. Then number 5,
that line? Was that Super Bowl 40?
Yeah, that was Super Bowl
line
40.
they considered the worst Super Bowl ever to play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Then Ben was like, "Oh, line, who's laughing now?"
Yeah.
And all the talking heads up there
Max
were like,
Starks.
"Oh, yeah, Ben, that's funny."
I liked Max Starks. I don't know if you remember him.
My buddy, he texted.
The giant.
Yeah, he was flying somewhere. He got off this flight. He called me. He's like, "You will never believe who I sat next to." I'm like, "Who?" He's like, "A Max Starks." I'm like, "Yeah, prove it." He sends this picture of this giant sitting next to him, Max Starks. And then,
damn, it must be true.
It must be true. And then number 5 was Kevin Green.
Kevin Green. All right. So now we're at Kevin Green.
We're at Kevin Green. Where can
He's
you
number
go
5.
from Kevin Green?
Where do we go from here, Mike?
Number 4, the man. Without him, we do not win Super Bowl 40. We don't even win a playoff game without him.
Well, let me guess. Let me see if I can.
Number 4, baby.
What side of the ball?
Defense.
Oh, I know you're gonna say. He come from the Jets?
He came from the Jets. No.
No.
Or did he? I can't remember who he played for before.
I think he played for the Jets.
Oh, okay. So make your guess. I'll let you know if you're correct or not.
James Ferrier.
That would be incorrect. Chemo von Oelhoffen. Not only did
you got Ferrier up higher, that's why. Okay, go ahead.
Not only did he injure Carson Palmer and help us, put John Kitna in so we can play better and win that game, he was a solid contributor on that line.
Oh, he was.
He was, people just was like, only thing he's known for is that hit on Carson Palmer. This guy was, we needed help on that D line, and this dude just came out of nowhere when we picked him up on free agency. Like, who's this guy? Von Oelhoffen. Then you watched him play. Like, this guy's great.
You recall when like you said, that when they brought in John Kitna. Now, it wasn't always a walk in the park when it came to John Kitna. I don't know if you remember, Mike. There was a time when there was a game. I'm almost certain that we gave up 500 yards passing to him.
I think you're correct. Yeah, Kitna he
was not a bad quarterback.
He was not a bad quarterback. He was not a great
quarterback.
Who
would he compare you to nowadays, Mike? Who would that guy be? He's not a bad quarterback, but he comes and he puts up. I would say almost like a Ryan Fitzpatrick. And I know he retired.
I would say he was better than Fitzpatrick. I would put him in.
You think he's better than Fitzpatrick?
I think he was better than Fitzpatrick.
I just think
it was harder to pass in that era than it is now.
They're both really good quarterbacks. They ended up being career backups. They started for a while. When they started, they weren't bad.
Andy Dalton. He's a better Andy Dalton. He's a better Jared Goff.
He's better than those guys, you're saying?
Yeah. He would. I think in this era, he would be better in this era because it's easier to pass in this era now.
Johnny
Kitna, he was, he's a tricky guy to play against, man. Like, you thought, like, this guy sucks, but my God, with Chad Johnson and Hushman Zeta, he was pretty good.
After about two or three seasons of playing against Kitna regularly, I felt that. I thought, oh, I don't even want to play him
Like you
anymore.
hate, like you look at him like he's not that good,
Right.
but like you said, he's out there 500 yards, 300 yards, 400 yards. Like what?
And he's certainly not to play us.
He did too. He did too. Like the Bengals have always had that quarterback that would do that to you. Back in the 70s, it was what, Ken Anderson in the West Coast offense.
They had a lot of bad guys too, man.
Yeah.
I mean, boy, they went through some rough times. Talk about us going through rough times in the late 90s. That was minuscule. That was microscopic
Yeah.
compared to what happened in Cincinnati over the years.
Right.
All right. So that was who? Who's your last one?
That was Kimo von Oelhoff.
Chemo. Okay.
Chemo.
So that's number 4.
Number
We're
3.
We're down to 3 guys, Mike.
Ryan Clark.
I was wondering where he was at.
Yeah, him and Troy, man. Talk about a safety duo. Like they just had that chemistry where it was like unspoken. Like Troy was able to go and freelance and do what he did. He knew Ryan Clark would be there, and Ryan had the faith that okay, Troy's gonna go do what Troy does, that I don't have to like cover for Troy because I know Troy is eventually going to be where he needs to be. So I can focus on my job, or if I see something, I can jump around. I can jump a pattern. I can, fire up into the run game. They had that relationship back there, and he was a really good free safety. Was he an Ed Reed type free safety? No, but my God, he was really good free safety for this.
When you're looking for a perfect defensive backfield, these are the kind of guys you look at. You look at what you had when you had Troy Polamalu and what you had when you had Ryan Clark. Now, Ryan Clark was not afraid of no man. There was no man in that league that he was not afraid of getting, getting his head and just knocking people's heads off. And then Troy playing the free was just a delight. He was an extra. He was because what he did was so much more than what a good free safety does. So Clark, who was an exceptional strong, he could get up, played in the box when he, anything. This guy was so physical. People did not want to go across the middle. And like I said, with Troy, he was just an extraordinary free safety. There was nothing. Like I said, you take a regular guy who's really good, and then you add everything that Troy Polamalu brought to the table. That was my favorite set of safeties. With the exception, I mean, you'd have to take it back to the Carnell Lake and Darren Perry years.
Yeah, and then even to all the way back to like what Mike Wagner and whoever the other safety, I forget the other safety, made the Hall of Fame. But yeah, they've had some really good tandem safeties, but I think this one might be the best.
Yeah.
Just because the way they played the game, and that secondary was loaded too. Ike Taylor, Deshae Townsend, he wasn't going to wow you, but when you needed a big play, Deshae was there. Big play, Willie Gay, Brian McFadden.
Willie Gay sure stepped up. I didn't think he was going to be as good as he ended up being. Yeah. He was exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was number 3.
No, it's number 3.
Number 3.
Number 2. This one might surprise you.
Okay.
James Ferrier.
Yeah, I was wondering where he was at.
Yes. Talk about a guy who he played outside linebacker.
He was an inside.
Well, I know he played inside here, but I thought he played outside in the Jets, and we moved him inside.
I don't remember.
Or he was a 4-3 inside linebacker who didn't put up some production that he should have. Either way, in New York, he underproduced. He was considered a bust of a player. And then we get this guy, and he turned into one of the best inside linebackers in Steeler history. And that's saying something. You look at the inside linebackers we had. You had Jack Lambert. You had, who else do we have?
Well, I just remember when he came over.
Him and Lawrence Timmons, my God, they formed a dynamic duo on the inside.
When he came over, I remember thinking to myself, hey, who's this we're getting from the Jets?
Yeah.
How great can he be if he came from the Jets and the Jets don't want him?
Yeah.
But Mike, you're 100% right. For that team, that little era was that was James Ferrier's team. He was the leader of that defense. He was the captain, and without him, he was the solid piece in that defense. You can never ever talk about Ben's Super Bowls without coming back ultimately to James Ferrier when you're talking about the defense side of the ball. This guy, Mike, was so solid. And when we got that Avery Williamson a couple years ago from the Jets 2 seasons ago, I thought, well, maybe this is the same case. Maybe this guy is just really never heard of him. He coming from the Jets, but he didn't pan out to be that kind of guy. But James Ferrier, Mike, was one of the best linebackers in the history of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And that's saying something because
absolutely,
God, like I said, you have Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, Kevin Green. And speaking on that defense, you said he was the leader, the leader of that defense. The personalities he had to corral on that defense.
Yeah.
When you have big snacks in the middle, Aaron Smith and Kiesel up front, Joey Porter on the outside, having to, control those guys in the huddle. And he commanded their respect. And Ferrier was, he didn't get a lot of Pro Bowls, but he was respected throughout the league.
Right.
He was like, a pro's pro. Everyone in the NFL knew James Ferrier. In the division, he was overshadowed by Ray Lewis, obviously. But he was just a steady guy. You knew you're going to get 100+ tackles out of him every year. You just plug him in there, let him do his thing. He was a tackling machine out of the 3-4 middle linebacker spot. One of my all-time favorite Steelers.
So that Mike is your number 2?
Number 2.
So okay, so we're down to Mike's number 1. I'm going to take a flying leap and say that it's not Derek Watt.
It's definitely not Derek Watt.
You're one of your favorites. Derpy, are you still awake? I need an alarm clock button.
Cricket.
Derpy,
I put him to sleep talking about my all-time favorite Steelers signing.
We're gonna take a quick guess. Mike is down to his last free agent. I say that it's not going to be Derek Watt. Is there anybody that you believe can be Mike's number 1 all-time favorite Steeler free agent? Anybody that pops in your mind? Anybody that you could think of? Derpy, take a stab at it.
Lima Swede.
Lima Swede
was drafted.
I know.
I will not take.
I think he meant Eric Ebron.
My man was depressed.
I think he meant Eric Ebron, Mike.
Eric Ebron.
And was D'Angelo Williams, was he in one of those, or was that one that Derpy threw out?
I totally forgot about D'Angelo Williams.
No biggie.
He would make the honorable mention. I totally forgot about him. As soon
as I'm just trying to keep track myself here.
Yeah. But I am going to go back through the list again.
And then also, okay, and then okay, yeah, you're going to go back down to the list.
Yeah,
all right.
Honorable
Start from
mentions.
10, go down.
Honorable mentions: John L. Williams, Ray Seals, Darius Hayward-Bay, Tyson Alualu, Gary Anderson, Steven Nelson, and Joe Hayden.
Okay.
Now the top 10. Number 10, Eric Pegram. Number 9, Mewelde Moore. Number 8, Brent Alexander. Number 7, Dwayne Washington. Number 6, Jeff Hardings. Number 5, Kevin Green. Number 4, Kimo von Oelhoffen. Number 3, Ryan Clark. Number 2, James Ferrier.
All right, we know it's not Derek Watt. We know it's not Lima Swede. Not even Eric Ebron, as much as these amazing free agents were when they came, and maybe even Jericho Cotchery you could throw in there.
I totally forgot about Jericho Cotchery.
But Mike does. He has his favorite all-time free agent in Pittsburgh Steeler history.
Yes.
You can go regular pace now, Mike, because we do. We're
right.
Perfect on time, even for our trivia. So go ahead and finish us out. Who is your favorite all-time Pittsburgh Steeler free agent?
This man is responsible for one of the greatest, if not the greatest, plays in NFL history, NFL Super Bowl history. Number 92 in your program, number 1 in your hearts, James Harrison, baby. James Harrison.
I knew he had to be in there somewhere. And once we got to a certain point, and I seen that he wasn't. I thought he's got to be Mike's number 1. James Harrison is Mike's favorite all-time free agent, picked up by the Steelers. He made it through the gauntlet that was Mike's worthy your honorable mention.
My honorable mention.
Here's my question, though, Mike.
All the way to the top, from top 10. Mike is saying his favorite is James Harrison. What's your question, Dirk?
How can you put a guy that wasn't loyal and ended up going to the Patriots at number 1?
Because my man won us the Super Bowl. Without him, they do not win that Super Bowl against the Cardinals.
I know, but he went. You
I
know,
don't
he
care.
went to the enemy.
I don't care. This is about what he did as a Steeler, and he won a Super Bowl. This man went from an undrafted rookie free agent that the Steelers signed, cut, goes to the Ravens, goes to NFL Europe, plays in Amsterdam or some place like that, or Germany, gets cut again by the Ravens. The Steelers bring him back, works his way, becomes a starter, becomes a defensive player of the year, has the greatest play in Super Bowl history. This man is the best free agent signing. It's not about loyalty. It's about what he did after, we signed him as a free agent and he won a Super Bowl, had the best play in Super Bowl history, won a defensive player of the year. This guy is the best free agent signing the Steelers had. It's not about loyalty. It's about what you did on the field. And what he did on the field was amazing. I see where you're coming from. I respect your argument, but for what he did on the field in my pool, he's number 1.
I'll let it pass.
You better let it pass, Derby. I'm in charge of the mute button.
Who wants the Patriots though? Come on now, Mike.
Also, I did not include Fast Willie Parker because he was just an undrafted rookie free agent that we signed. The reason Harrison made it is because he went to another team and was cut. We signed him as a free agent. I know it's a loophole and everything, but Fast Willie, he probably would have bumped off Eric Peterson.
Mike, what was Bettis' situation? He wasn't.
We traded for him.
Traded for him.
Yeah.
Okay. That was good. Good top 10, Mike.
I want to credit a bunch of different websites that I went to because I could not remember who we signed in these eras of everything. So like Bleacher Report,
and also later in the week,
Depot, I Post Gazette, just different articles that had free agents in there. Thank you guys. Thank you.
And also either later in the week or next week, Mike has a second part to this. We'll be coming back.
Yes.
And when we do this again, we'll be talking about the top 10 worst.
Yes.
Top 10 worst free agent signings, which could be a lot of fun as well.
It will be a lot of fun. And thank you. Like I said, to those websites, ESPN, NFL Network.
All right. They get it.
Gazette. But hey, credit where credit's due. Without their knowledge, I would have been lost.
Why don't you credit our website and tell everybody about
our website, 2dumbyinjuries.com, which people have been coming to in droves. It's just blowing me away. Everyone coming to there, 2dumbyinjuries.com, the number 2 DUMYINZRS.com. You hit there. Links to YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Facebook, Twitter, Instagrams, emails, everything you need at 2dumbyinjuries.com.
Check it out, everybody. Check it out. www.2dumbyinjuries.com. We are live all week long, Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And the show that we do every day gets uploaded at 8 o'clock in the evening over on Spotify. If you're just able to listen to the show and not watch it, you could always go over to Spotify and check out the show of the day. It gets uploaded at 8 o'clock p.m. We have now the 2-minute warning. We have a trivia of the day. You guys ready?
I am ready.
I think we're going to have to wake Derpy up from his nap one more time just for trivia. Let me see if I can't wake him up here. There we go. Now I see. Now we know he's active. He's alive.
There we go.
All right. So today, guys, today's trivia question is going to be a football trivia question. It's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler trivia question. Are you guys ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Who is the only player in NFL history, guys? Who is the only player in NFL history that caught an interception and threw an interception in the same game? Who was the only player in NFL history who caught an interception and threw an interception in the same game? Go. Don't shout it out if you know it. I'm not sure if P's still on the board, but P, you know that you're welcome to play along as well if you're there. Couple more seconds. All right. So here we go. I'm going to start with Mike today. In NFL history, Mike, there's been one player to catch an interception and throw an interception in the same game. Can you tell me that player?
This is just NFL history. It's not dealing with the Steelers.
It's both.
Antoine Randall.
Antoine Randall. Good pick. Good pick. Let me go ahead and lock you in. Your final answer on Randall?
Randall.
Okay. Lock Mike in on that. Come over, Derpy, mid-meal. Derpy, who is the only player in NFL history that not only intercepted a pass, but they also threw an interception in the same game?
Here's a wild. I'm gonna go with the wild one here.
Okay.
Franco
Harris is your guess. Good guess. Do you want me to lock you in on Franco Harris?
Yeah.
All right. So we have Franco Harris. We have an Antoine Randall. The question of the day is this: in NFL history, there's only been one player to intercept the ball and throw an interception in the same game. He was a Pittsburgh Steeler. He was a defensive back. He was Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy had an interception. Starting quarterback was out. Second quarterback goes down with a separated shoulder. In comes Tony Dungy. Got to play a little quarterback, a little, you know how they throw James Harrison in to snap the ball on field goals sometime, and how the disaster that was. Well, this was no different. Tony Dungy went in, was a disaster then as well. He threw an interception. I think he threw 2 interceptions, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
But Tony Dungy, guys, is the only player in NFL history, Coach Tony Dungy, to throw an interception and catch an interception in the same game.
That's wild.
That was
Say
wild.
hi, buddy.
That was wild. P
Say
said
hi.
no idea. The answer on that, P, again, is Tony Dungy, one of my favorites.
Whoa.
Didn't get to watch him much as a youngster because I was a little too young, but as a coach, how can you not like Tony and what he did with that Colts team? Mike, you have anything before we take off for today?
No, I don't.
All right.
Nothing.
And my man Derp, do you have anything new today?
I do.
Okay, let's hear what you got.
This is a little stab at a fan base.
I like it. We are all about stabbing at fan bases.
There's just some wisdom for like our fan base and a stab at another fan base. So
I like it. All right.
Stay loyal to the Pittsburgh Steelers because it could be worse. You could be a fan of a princess who cheats.
Whoa.
All right, Mike, I need you to explain this.
AKA the Patriots.
Translate this to me.
The Patriots.
The Patriots. Okay. All right. Maybe like the last one, it's going to take me a day to appreciate this.
I've been wanting to say that for a while.
No, I like it. All right, Derpy. But hey, we do want to thank everybody for checking us out. We hope that you continue to do so even after the Tom Brady joke. But no, it was all right. It was all right. We'll work on that. I do want to, like I said, thank everybody. And everybody, I want you to have a great day. This is the second day of spring. It's going to be nice out there. It's certainly nice here where we are in the Pittsburgh region. But for everybody else, have a great one.